Try to what?
Do or do not. There is no try. Live on YouTube.
We were miserable without you on when we were with Bishop. I told Dave, get everything ready to go so that way we can just hit the record button and go. He's like, yep, I got it. Go ahead and go live so we can. And so he was like, yep, I got all the buttons. We're good. And you ready, Bishop? Yep. Okay, good. Button, push.
Nothing happened.
And
I looked at it and it said the hotkey is the letter O, the O key. Push the O key, nothing happens. So I go to it and I say set key, O, and then I try it by pushing the O, and it worked. It's like I didn't do anything, you know.
It's just
you have to be here. You have to click here before.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, he did. But it was just hilarious because we were like, let's get it all ready for Bishop so that way we're not.
Set it the way it already was.
And then it was like just hour.
Stupid.
No. It was a full.
It's not an hour.
No. A couple minutes of just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
With Bishop just kind of laughing. Ooh, the one that everybody hates.
I like it.
I like it too.
So raise your glass.
You know how hard it was for me to sing that high when I recorded that?
The amount of things you had to do.
Yeah. I won't even tell you.
Hey, hit record on Cuba. Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side. So raise your glass. Adam Minahan here in studio with David Niles. We have Juan back, thank goodness. Hey, if you guys did not listen to last week's episode when we interviewed Bishop David Condola,
We had an apostle
on the show. It was a really great show. We talked about his letter, Lord, I am not worthy. If you have not read the letter, you can go
read the letter.
It's phenomenal. Anyway,
If you want to read
really great.
If you want to read something good from a bishop, go read the letter.
Go read that letter. But luckily we have Juan back because if you go to our YouTube channel and you'll watch us or maybe it's Facebook. Regardless, one of them, we were just on the struggle bus for a little while trying to get everything going, and now we have Juan back. It's great.
Shocker.
We actually have the whole team back. The gang's back, guys.
The gang's all here.
The gang's all here. We got Jim over here hanging out.
The boys are back in town.
Dave's back from his vacation. Dave, I have so much stuff that I wanted to tell you last episode with Bishop here that has happened because we, haven't been.
I had stories. I think we both had stories we wanted to tell. But
yes.
It just wasn't. It wasn't the setting.
It wasn't the setting. So I'm going to tell some of them today.
I want to hear some of them.
Okay.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Can we open the bourbon today? What's the bourbon today?
To hear is to obey. Do you hear that? I opened it.
Yeah, that was nice.
I don't know. You bought it. No,
What?
you brought it. It's Rough Rider straight bourbon whiskey, finished in brandy casks. It's a rye.
Mm-hmm. It's a double cast. Yeah. I'm really excited about it to try it out.
It says a high rye bourbon.
I'm also excited to try it because it fits in with one of the stories that I was going to tell you.
No kidding.
Yes. Rodeo, 4th of July rodeo in Hartshorn, America. In Hartshorn, America's rodeo, you get to basically, if you are a living, breathing person, you want to participate in the rodeo, and you have a little bit of cash.
Yes, you can ride a bull.
You can ride a bull. You can do things in the rodeo.
I don't know if they'll let you ride a bull.
Yeah, they will.
A
I
bull?
almost did it.
They would let without a rodeo card?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I'm so totally serious, Clark.
They were gonna put you on a bull.
Yes.
Okay. This idiot
wants to ride a bull.
wants to ride the bull. Put him on it.
Yeah. Be hilarious.
It'd be hilarious.
But Jude,
I would do it.
yeah. But Jude won the mutton busting contest. He's a Rough Rider, bourbon.
Nice. I get it.
He won the mutton busting contest, which is, if you don't know what mutton busting is, it is sheep riding.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. So Jude, out of 40,
You need to put the video on our.
I put it on Facebook. So
You did?
Yeah. So Jude won it. So he man, he was holding on.
There
for
was
dear life.
nothing gonna get him off
that
sheep.
sheep. No. So he won it. He gets a big belt buckle that says Hartshorn Rodeo Mutton Busting Champion 2021
with like a sapphire. It looks like it's not a sapphire, but it looks.
It looks like one. Yeah, and it's a huge belt buckle.
It's huge. It's awesome.
Yes, and he won $116,
which is like infinity. It's like infinity money.
At 6 years old, he knows it's just a ton of money. So I said, Jude, what are you gonna buy? He said, a boat.
Yeah.
Because he knows a boat costs a lot of money. He now has a lot of money.
Right.
$116.
Obviously.
So I'm going to go buy a boat.
I'm within the boat realm.
Right. So he bought that. And then Luke rode a bronc. Like he actually rode a bucking bronc. First time. Never been on a horse before.
Yeah. Not a horse at all.
Not a horse at all.
All right.
I was very, very proud of him. Anna also mutton busted, kind of. She tried to get off before the sheep even got off. I was down there holding her. So anyway, it was awesome. It was really cool. It was a proud moment as a dad. Like a city folk come down there to Hartshorn Rodeo and just whoop up on them.
The prime stock coming down from the big city.
All right, let's try it. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Cheers.
Cheers to Jesus.
Cheers. I like the color, just right off the bat. I really like the color.
I like a darker color of my whiskey.
I'm getting.
This is a nice like honey amber. I just smelled the microphone.
A little rusty, huh?
I had the glass in my hand.
You haven't been here for a while.
The microphone. That is
been here a while. It'll come back to you. Orange peel, lime, a little bit of
I'm getting feathered hay.
Honeysuckle.
Feathered hay. You know, like when you take hay and you feather it.
Feathered hay. That's what I'm getting on the nose. Orange, a little bit of lemon lime, and honeysuckle.
It's very clean on the nose. You know, It's not overpowering. It's very clean.
I'm getting the honeysuckle as well. I second that comment.
For it being a rye, there's not a lot of bite.
I was gonna say,
I'm not rough.
Sure if you'd given this
for
to me,
a Rough Rider.
I wouldn't have said that's a rye. It kind of tastes like a regular, like just a bourbon.
It has some good caramel notes to it.
There's some caramel in there.
It's sweet at the very beginning.
Yeah,
on the palate.
It's kind of sweet the whole time.
Little subtle fruit notes in the very back. It was only I believe $38.
Honestly, that's delicious.
It's a good
38?
38, I believe.
Is it really? I know it says high rye.
Mm-hmm.
Is it actually? Is that just like a name? Is it actually a rye?
It is a rye, yes.
That is the most mild rye.
It's 90 proof, so it's not too bad. That's good.
I think it's very good.
What's one of your stories that you had
for $38? That's a winner.
That's a win.
I'm gonna look for that one in the store.
Rough Rider, double cask.
That is good. Okay, so we were in Michigan for a couple weeks. Our cabin up there is just really a peaceful. It's really my favorite place. And we were driving back. It's a 15-hour drive. We were going straight from the cabin to Pamela's family reunion in Arkansas. 15-hour drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do it all in one day. On the way up there, we stopped. We broke it up into 2 days, but I was just gonna nope. We're gonna just power through.
Yep.
We get an extra day here at the cabin, whatever. So we leave real early in the morning. We get into St. Louis, which is, at this point we've been on the road for 9 hours or something. A long time. It's about halfway.
Uh-huh.
So. Right as we're coming into East St. Louis, I was trying to throw...
What kind of rough part of town?
East St. Louis does not have a good reputation.
Yeah.
I will just tell you that. I don't know how things are in East St. Louis these days, but I will tell you at one point, that was not a place you wanted to go.
Nelly sang about it back in the 90s, I think.
Right. It's just...
That was
it's just
cut.
not something... It's not on the tourist list. So...
Sure.
Right as we're coming in, I am attempting to throw an M&M to each one of the girls in the back. And so
As you're driving. You're driving.
I'm driving. Okay, I don't recommend that.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
And I just hit the wah on the side of the road.
Yeah.
What is this called? I have no idea what that's called.
The wake-up alarm.
The thing.
Yeah.
When they do the stuff on the road and it goes wah.
Yeah. I liked mine better.
But it doesn't go drrr, it goes wah. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
Anyway, you obviously drive so slow. Anyway, right after that, I immediately see this low pressure, tire pressure. And look down, it says 0 on my back left tire. It's great. So I pull over, it's totally popped. And my wife, she's like, do you know how to change a tire? And I was like, watch this.
I took off my shirt and said, honey, hold this.
Ripped it. First thing you got to do is rip the sleeves.
Yeah.
I do know how to change a flat tire. So I get the tire out. I'm working on it. And, I was making good progress. And then all of a sudden this guy pulls over. And he comes up and he's like, looks like you could use a... Oh, what do you call those jacks?
Floor jack?
A floor jack. Yeah, it looks like you could use a floor jack. I got one. And he's kind of, I don't know how old he was. He's, maybe 60.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I got some stuff, but you're going to have to do the work. And I was like, all right, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So I walk over to his truck, and, yep, he's got a floor jack. And, that gets the car off the ground in a few seconds as opposed to, like, 5 minutes, you know. And so his name was Gerald. And I'm getting the nuts off the tire. And he says, I'm not a very good person, but I do stop to help people when they got a flat tire. It's the one thing I do for the church. And I was like, all right, well, Gerald, you were a godsend today.
Yeah.
And he's telling me, like, I got a doctor's appointment. I don't have a lot of time, but if you think we can do this quickly, I can, help you and stuff. And so
I'm not a nice person.
He said, I'm not a very good person.
I'm not a very good person.
But it's the one thing I do for the church. And so, we got it changed.
God bless him.
Yeah, we got it changed. And I was like, thank you very much. Put it, get it back in his truck. And he was going to make it to his doctor's appointment. And I was like, Gerald, let's pray.
Nice.
And so, yeah, I just led us in a quick prayer. And then when I'm done, I look up, and Gerald is on the verge of just totally breaking down in tears. And he's like, all right, I got to go. And he got in his truck and left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it just beautiful prayer, huh?
I thought it was a good prayer. I mean, didn't make me cry. Yeah, it was it. Honestly, I think that he stopped. The Lord wanted it more for him than for me.
I'm not a good person.
Not a very good person, but
Here's to you, Gerald. We'll be right back.
the truth is, I would have got the tire changed faster if he hadn't have stopped, because I already had the jack that I had, like, going. It was like the car was about halfway off the ground already. And so when he stopped, I kind of had to, like, stop what I was doing, go get that out, and he was a very kind person. He just had you could just tell he was very nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't want to I thought it would be rude for me, like, no, I got it. Thanks, old man. You know?
Well, he's not a very good person.
Right. So
But it is the one thing he does for the church.
He did not actually speed up my progress.
I think it was hilarious, though.
I know.
It's like, what a way to start out, like, introducing yourself. I'm not a very good person. Well,
Sure.
Gerald, I'm on the side of the road.
Right, and you're making me a little nervous now, Gerald. My whole family's in the van.
You do something. My wife and kids are here with me.
I want you to be socially distant, please.
Yeah. I don't care about the coronavirus. I just really want you to be social distant.
Don't you hit me with that tire iron you're holding.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's keep going.
We have a main gear today?
We do.
Okay. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles. Here with Adam Minahan, we got Juan Posada and Gene Spencer in the studio. Thanks for being here, guys. You too, Adam. Thanks for being here, Adam.
It's my house.
Yeah. I'm thanking you for being here.
You know what?
The polite thing to do, Adam, is just say, hey, you're welcome.
I don't get a lot of people who actually thank me for being in my house, so I appreciate that.
I'm just trying to be nice. I'm trying to be like Gerald.
I'm not a good person. It's the one thing I do.
Yeah. I do thank people, though, for being where they are.
Hey, something else I got to tell you.
The way you said that makes me a little nervous. But go ahead.
Okay. Luke, did his first bass fishing tournament and qualified for the state championship
He's
fishing
legit.
tournament.
He's like halfway being pro.
He's halfway being pro, yeah. So it's his first fishing tournament.
Can you go pro at 9 years old?
No, I don't believe so. And he's not even 9 yet.
Well, that was like when he gets to be 9.
Yeah, so he qualified for the state
I
tournament.
figured it'll take about a year before he gets to
can
be
actually
pro.
do it, yeah. He was the top third. There's over 40 some odd teams.
So is this a youth fishing tournament, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, on a bass boat. So and it was the first time to ever fish from a boat, which is a different skill set, right?
Sure.
You're not on the ground. You're uneven. You're now having to be a lot more particular where you're landing your lure because you're either fishing maybe on a dock or close to a dock or in brush. There's just a lot more things to go wrong.
And when you're moving, you have to realize like, oh, if you cast alongside this log, well, now you're going to move, so you're going to be dragging over on top of,
Right. There's just a lot more. Anyway,
more elements.
he did a great job. He actually won. So it's a bass fishing tournament. Anything that's not a bass is considered a junk fish.
Mm-hmm.
There was a prize for junk fish, the biggest junk fish, and he won that. He caught a 5-pound catfish.
I thought you were about to say bluefin tuna.
No.
It's like in Lake Tenkiller?
Lake Tenkiller? Nope. Caught a catfish, 5 pounds.
That'd be hilarious if you just like went to the pet store and you bought yourself like a big fish. You put it like some exotic fish that obviously doesn't live in Lake Tenkiller, and you tried to turn it in. It's like
swordfish.
Is that a lionfish? Yep, pulled it right out down near the dam. Sir,
this is a saltwater fish.
The judge is going to have to go over some things regarding your complete entry.
Yeah. But so I was super proud of him. He did a great job. Had to wake up super early. Over 5 hours of fishing, which is a long time for.
That was a lot of fishing.
It's a lot of fishing. He did a great job. He at the end he goes, "Dad, you think we could hit the pond on the way home to go fishing?" I was like, "Son, we just fished for 5 hours. We're not going to go fishing when we get home."
But I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I was really proud of him.
That is awesome.
So in August we're gonna go to the state championship.
Sweet.
So I'm pumped about that. And they're gonna do flag football this year. Really pumped about that as well.
Big year.
Big year for the Minahan boys. Man. So we're gonna talk about hospitality today. This is the man gear section. If you're new to the show, we have a drink.
Adam, why do we drink on the show? We haven't talked about that in a while.
We like to.
We like it.
Yeah, we like to.
Because we're sinners, that's why.
We have a man gear and then a topic. While you were gone on your 1-month hiatus, there's a thing that you were involved in that you just dropped the ball on. You just left everybody high and dry.
You talking about the chickens?
Nope. No, I'm not. I'm talking about the St. Joseph Novena.
Yeah.
And so...
I have been meaning to ask you about that, actually.
So the Minahan family...
Have you been doing it? It's a blessing that we gave you.
Yes.
It is a beautiful novena.
It's a beautiful novena.
Have you done that one before?
No. This is the first time.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So anyway, before you leave today, I got to give it back to you.
Okay, is today number 9?
Yesterday was number 9, actually.
Oh, okay.
So...
That's okay.
So anyway, what it is Deacon J. Thomas from the diocese. He is a deacon of Holy Family Cathedral. He is a man who I aspire to be someday. Like, he raises his family, he's a role model. Mm-hmm. And what he decided to do on the year of St. Joseph is to get a group of families together to pray a continuous novena to St. Joseph. And so what he did was he has
this little shrine,
the St. Joseph shrine that he put in a basically picnic. It looks like a picnic basket that they kind of.
No, he found that. That's like a real shrine that he found like on eBay or something.
Wow.
And it says Ora Pro Nobis on it. So it's like a.
No, I'm talking about the basket that it's in.
Oh, okay. You're talking. Yeah. That's just a basket.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was saying.
I thought you were talking about the actual shrine. Oh, no.
No.
I apologize.
So there's a basket. He puts the shrine, which is a St. Joseph shrine, St. Joseph statue.
The shrine itself is like.
It's beautiful.
It's small but beautiful. It's like you can tell it comes from the old school.
Mm-hmm. And so what he did was he put it in this picnic basket, and on the picnic basket lid, he has the list of families that are involved. And so each family prays the novena for 9 days and then passes it to the next family. And they pray it for 9 days and then pass it to the next family throughout the whole year of St. Joseph.
Going.
And it just keeps going.
And we pray for each other. We pray for our families and for the other families. So it's like you constantly have a novena to St. Joseph being said for your family.
Which, these are one of these the things that when I hear it, I'm thinking like, why did I not think of this?
Mm-hmm.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
What a great idea to build community, to build up your prayer life, to be able to promote the devotion of St. Joseph with your children.
Yeah, and so on the Feast of St. Joseph, our group has St. Joseph parties sometimes.
Right. And so anyway, so I thought it was a great idea through the year of St. Joseph, and it's not too late to start. If you're listening to this right now and you're thinking like, that is a great idea, I'd like to get 3 or 4 or 5 families together and do this, like, you can do that.
Yeah, we're actually in the process of replicating the shrine.
Oh, you are? Great.
So he had a 3D model made.
It's beautiful.
And I sent it to India, and we're having sand cast.
Nice.
Because we looked everywhere because the shrine itself really facilitates. It's small,
it's beauty,
but it's also just very beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you something to set up in your house. You know, you pass it around. So there's something more real about it, because when it's your turn to say the novena, it's like, oh, it's my turn to say the novena. Okay, I guess we'll start. But it's different when you have to carry something to the next family and say, like, here, it's your
something tangible.
Right, exactly. It's physical. It's there. You see it. You have it. You put it in your house, you know.
Right. So if you have a home altar, it's a perfect spot to,
So it's called a traveling novena, and now there's something literally that travels,
Right.
And so that shrine, when he found it, it had nothing in it. So he put the statue, and he put put a fabric backing on it. It looks really, really nice. The rest of it is all original, so we can put pictures up. I have pictures of it, but there's some metal work on it that's just very ornate, that really makes the shrine. We have actually the wood already remodeled. We just don't. So hopefully we get these die casts made, because then we can start making a whole bunch of them.
Right.
We could buy them like in bulk if we wanted.
Sure.
From this place in India. So
you've been doing it a lot longer than I have, because I've only been doing it for 9 days.
I think we've been doing it for like 2 years, maybe.
Oh, 2 years? I thought it was just for the St. Joseph year, the year of St. Joseph. You've been doing that for 2 years?
Yeah, it's before the year of St. Joseph.
No kidding. Wow, I did not realize that.
I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
So
what's your experience been like with the kids?
It's been great. The novena itself, like I said, is very beautiful.
And then you end with one of the Pope Leo XIII St. Joseph prayers.
Right, exactly. And that is to be said every day. I mean, that's just what we decided, as our group. So yeah, you say that every day, whether you have the shrine or not.
Oh, okay. I'm new. Like,
yeah, that's okay. So, but it's just great to have these other families who, we started off with selecting families that we thought would appreciate it and would be devout in the way that they did it, that would be faithful to it. be able to honor that commitment, because there's a lot of times, this is a common thing where people get excited about a devotion, and then it actually devotions are rigorous. When it actually comes to doing it, it's hard, and often a devotion is harder than you think. You know what I mean? And so you stop. And if it's
because it becomes inconvenient at times.
Well, it's inconvenient, and sometimes it's a burden. Yeah. Sometimes you realize the burden of this devotion is more than what I can handle right now. And you just have to learn to discern before you begin a devotion. Father Cosgrove started the 12 years.
He did?
Of St. Bridget a few days ago on her feast day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was just a few days ago.
Yeah, it's of Sweden, and not St. Bridget of Sweden.
Of Sweden.
Yeah.
Of Sweden. So, that's a devotion. Should be
we did a whole episode on that.
Discerned. Yeah, go back and I really want to promote that. I mean, because it's just those prayers are so beautiful. Anyway, the shrine is really great. We pass it around. It builds community. It builds my own devotion to Saint Joseph, especially with this. There's just something about this particular novena. I know Juan. It really inspired Juan too. I mean, he says it a lot.
Yeah. So if you have a group of guys in your parish, you have a patron saint, or you want to do it to Saint Joseph or the Blessed Virgin Mary, this would be a great idea to up your prayer game, build community, promote different saints within your household.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be Joseph. You could do it with any saint. Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about hospitality when we get back.
So was the main gear the altar?
The
shrine? It was the shrine.
The shrine? Okay.
Traveling shrine.
Yeah.
Good.
It's a good man gear.
Ryan, yes, we'll try to post the novena that we use on the Council of Man.
You've got the books downstairs.
I have the books downstairs.
I don't know that the novena, I think the novena just says Novena to St. Joseph, but it's in this book. And the books are hard to find.
Yeah.
Because they're way out of print. And I'm pretty sure that Jay Thomas has already bought all of them.
Oh, really?
So, and he's always looking, I think he has just a regular search going, so that if some get up for sale,
he buys them.
You're going to have to buy them before Jay Thomas does. Because he gives them away. Like, he gave Pamela and I some.
Oh, nice.
So that we have some. Because there's all kinds of novenas in there, and they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
And at the end of the that particular one to St. Joseph, there's a consecration to St. Joseph, which I thought was kind of a novel thing, something that had come about recently. But the idea of consecrating yourself to St. Joseph is an old thing, because I know that these books are old, and so it was at least around when these books were printed. It couldn't have been. I'm guessing they're like 1920s.
That's a good guess.
By just the look of the books, the printing style, and condition of the books. So anyway, we'll look. We need to find out what those books are,
and
because that would at least give clues to what the novena is.
Okay, I dig. I agree.
Thanks for doing that, by the way.
You're welcome. Well, Dr. Malash came running in. He had this picnic basket. He was like, I don't know what to do. Dave's not here. And I was like, okay, well, what's going on? He's like, we have this traveling novena. Dave's up. His family's up. I can't get a hold of him. I think he's gone on vacation. And I was like, well, I mean, I'll do it. He's like, okay, good. And he hands it to me, and then like jets. He was running late to wherever he was going. And so I just in a matter of seconds, just I'm holding this picnic basket, not knowing really what I'm getting myself into. But I was like, well, if Dave's doing it, then I can cover for him, at least for now.
Right.
So anyway, it was very funny. Very awkward.
So in the email, I went back and looked. It's like, no, I thought we weren't starting until the 19th or something. The 23rd, 22nd. Well, I went back and found it. And our last day was it on the 23rd. And it just... Anyway, I'll show you later. So...
Yeah.
what you guys were saying about the devotions. So for a long time, we did the Litany to St. Joseph almost every night. And then we stopped doing it. And Santiago, I was like, hey, Dad, how come we stopped doing the St. Joseph Litany? And he was like curious / semi-upset about it. And I was like, oh, you are right. It's been like a couple of weeks since we did it.
Mm-hmm.
We can start again. Thank you for reminding me. But just to know that...
He's just calling you out, Dad.
Yeah, and just the beauty of like order and the repetition in children.
Yeah.
When they get... when it's part of their routine, it's part of their... For them, it becomes second nature. For us, it becomes a burden.
Mm-hmm.
For them, second nature. You know,
Yeah.
it's so
They
cool.
like repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it again. I'm tired. There's a really great Chesterton quote about that.
About the sunset?
No, it's about repetition. It's like something about perhaps God didn't make all days. Perhaps God made all daisies alike, but he just never got tired of making them. And like it's little kids who like say, do it again.
Right.
Do it again. Do it again. But we, because of our sinfulness, have grown old. We're older than our Creator or something. Because God is still like youthful, and I really butchered it, but it's a really great quote.
I'll look it up. I will look it up.
Look it up. Yeah.
Cool.
Shall we?
We shall.
Let it be so.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. Sipping on a little bit of Rough Rider bourbon. Got done talking about a traveling shrine, traveling novena that you and your families can participate in.
Start one.
Yeah.
Just go get a statue. You don't have to have like the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's like, don't let that
Your
let
way.
that prevent you from doing it.
Sure.
Just go to your local Catholic book and gift store and buy a statue.
Make it happen.
And make it happen. You just need like 4 families.
Yeah.
It's good to have a few more. Otherwise, it comes around
Quicker.
like very often,
Mhm.
And that's okay. But there's a good balance there.
Yeah. So last week we had Bishop David Kundrla on, excuse me, talking about his letter that he put out on the reception of Holy Communion in the public office and the support or how the support of abortion or how you should not be supporting abortion and receiving communion as in a public office. And now we're going through, this is like one of my favorite times in the liturgy cycle of readings, because we're going through
John 6,
John
baby.
6, the bread of life discourse. It's the only time that I know of, at least. I could be wrong here, but like it feels like there's consecutive Sundays where it's just building up on each other.
Oh no, that happens a lot. It's
over a long period of time.
Well,
like,
what do you count as a long period
I don't know.
of time?
It's like what, 4 or 5 weeks.
Oh yeah, there's definite 4 or 5. That happens a lot where they're in the gospel. There's a theme that repeats for 4. It's not as obvious. The thing about John 6 is like this is the theme. This is like the Catholic theme, right?
Okay.
So like this is we all get jazzed up and we
get excited about it.
Make banners and like
Making
shoot off
banners?
like
Poppets and
confetti things. It's like John 6, woo! But it's very common actually.
Well, okay, so the reason why I said that, though, is because it separates us from our Protestant brothers and sisters of what we believe, especially regarding the Eucharist.
Yeah.
And we were talking with Bishop David Kundrla also about how it's a pastoral reason to not let them participate in a communion if they're not in the communion itself. And a lot of times it can become hostile, like they feel like that we're keeping them out or that, we're not welcoming everybody in, which is the exact opposite, right?
Right.
We want everybody in the Catholic Church.
We want you to receive communion,
We
actually.
want you to
but
receive.
you need to
But
be in communion before you can receive communion.
Right. And so my thought was it would be good to talk about hospitality today. And we actually had a episode a while back with Father Brian O'Brien on hospitality in the church itself.
We've never talked about hospitality?
Well, I think in that aspect,
That's
we have.
it?
I didn't see any others.
Okay.
Jim, if you
I mean, heaven forbid we talk about something twice.
I know.
It's not like, because, nobody else has ever done that.
basically every time we exhaust the topic, there's really nothing else
right.
to say.
I mean, exactly.
Yeah. But I
and
wanted.
now we will just play our last episode. Take the week off.
But I was doing some research, and there's this book on verbum. You and I both have verbum. I highly recommend
Totally.
getting it. It's an awesome resource. But there's a book on there, Encyclopedia of Ancient Christianity, and it talks about how Christian hospitality from the beginning involved heavy burdens for the community. That was like a quote in there, and I started thinking about it. I was like, well,
what book was it? What did you say?
it's called Encyclopedia of Ancient Christianity.
Okay.
And it talks about how it's going through, hospitality. We picked it up from early Christianity, from our Jewish brothers and sisters, right? Like hospitality was a huge thing even in the Jewish culture, the Jewish religion.
I feel like it was a big thing in almost all cultures back in the day, where like you would welcome just someone traveling by. You might welcome them into, in a world where things were more perilous, where you were like the chances of you dying of starvation on the road, that could reasonably happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
You would prepare for it so it wouldn't. But if something happened and you lost your food or whatever, like you're in real trouble, And so when you saw people traveling, there was more of a need. It's like almost like a camaraderie, like, oh, hey, you need me, I need, like I'm here for you, sort of thing. So that, but it was beautiful. It's something that we shouldn't have let go of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, Dave. In the Greek culture, in the Odyssey, they talk about how Zeus tested the people by being a traveler, and he would like show up to people's houses, and if they weren't hospitable to them, then he would smite them. So it was like you had to be hospitable to everybody. So it wasn't only the Jews; it was definitely.
Yeah, Jewish Muslim culture is very big on hospitality, like for the traveler. I mean, like,
I was not aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that sentence struck me, that it involves heavy burdens for the community. And I started thinking about it. It's like, what?
It's an interesting way to say it.
But it makes sense to me, right? There's a lot of times when we're hospitable to other people. If there's somebody that's new into the parish, well, come on over for brunch. It's like, I wasn't planning on having brunch with you. Now I need to make sure that my house is clean. I'm bailing on my plans that I had to welcome you in. And maybe it wasn't something that I was like really planning on doing, and maybe it was actually kind of inconvenient for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in this culture today, it's easy to just get in these ruts of I do this and then I do this, and at least this is for me. A lot of times my week is so scheduled out that it's hard for me to break off of it to make sure that I'm welcoming other people, or make sure that I'm hospitable to other people, because it would ruin what I had the rest of the day.
Well, I mean, but it's in another way, it's so easy to be hospitable today because, you welcome somebody else, like, all right, pick another loaf of bread up from the store, or like get another pound of ground beef.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, picture yourself back in the day. You welcome somebody, like often that meant welcoming their family and everyone traveling with them. Like you might have to go slaughter 2 more goats. Okay, like you're going to be busy for hours. Like
and that was like what you were gonna eat in the wintertime.
Right, and you thought you were like done for the day or something.
Right.
I mean, so the amount of labor that went into hospitality back in the day was significant.
Mm-hmm.
Often. Whereas today, it's like, all right, well, let's have a pizza delivered.
Right. It is easier in that aspect, but in today's busy, like quote unquote busy world, to make the time.
Yeah, there's a bigger emotional hurdle today to overcome because we do get set in our ways, kind of like what you're saying, and because things are so readily available, it's like, well, like how big of a need could you really have?
Right.
It's so easy to get stuff.
Right. But making sure we welcome people into the church, like, it drives me crazy when I look at the RCIA of a big parish and I take count, and there's, it's a 2,000 family parish, and there's 7 people coming into RCIA.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, what are we doing wrong? Why are we not welcoming these people? What is it about this parish or me or my family that we're not attracting other people, and being the light of Christ out in this dark world, that they're not like, wow, I want to see that. Like, why are we not bringing people in more? And how are we not doing this in an organic way? One time I was listening to Matt Fradd, I don't know, this was a year or more ago, and on his show, and he was talking about how before he moved, because he's now in Steubenville. Did you know that?
Yeah.
He's in Steubenville? Yeah. That's like another little Catholic hub that is just...
He moved a few months ago.
Right. I didn't know. I mean, you don't listen to podcasts anymore, so I just want to make sure you...
I did hear that.
Anyway, he opened up his house to all of his neighbors. He said, like, whatever, the third Saturday of the month, it's just an open party. No one has to RSVP. Just know you guys are coming. You guys can come over. Come and go as you please. We'll have drinks and some snacks. Just come over. And I thought, like, that's so easy. Why are we not doing something like that?
Yeah.
Because as we've talked about before, Dave, in order to start evangelizing somebody, you have to know somebody. And hospitality most of the time involves food, involves drink. Even in today's gospel, like, with the multiplication of loaves and fish, Christ even says, like, everybody have a seat, relax for a minute. And then he feeds everybody. Right? And the miracle occurs. But like, he has everybody relax, everybody sit down, calm down. We'll get this. Let me do my work here.
Yeah.
But it just drives me crazy how, like, in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, what kind of program or what do we have to do to make people come in? And as easy as like what Matt Fradd did of just opening, hey, just letting you guys know, I posted this on our little neighborhood Facebook page or whatever, the third Saturday of the month. Everybody's coming over. Everybody can come over.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
you do have to cross yourself with holy water before you come in.
We will sprinkle you with holy water as you come in. But you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, these are little things in hospitality.
I cook with blessed salt.
Gotcha. Got you. Why is Jim over there just convulsing?
Yeah.
Oh, he ate some of the blessed salt.
Right.
But so...
Oh, you tried the pretzels. Gotcha.
But I mean, don't you agree? Like, don't you think Juan is superb at this, right? Of making sure that people feel welcome, bringing them over for dinner, cooking
like
for them,
a hospitality machine.
Yeah, his love language is hospitality.
Come to the camp out and you can see for yourself.
No doubt. But turns out that Aquinas had a homily on the law of hospitality.
You don't say.
Yeah, so we'll go over that on the other side of the break.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
It's funny you gave that example because literally 2 days ago, I told Joan, hey, I want to have 2 Tuesdays a month where I do Taco Tuesday and everybody that wants to come is welcome. And we'll just send a massive email and say, if you want to come to Taco Tuesday, the 2nd and 4th weekend of the month, you should come.
You're open. It's open invitation.
It's open invitation. Just text me. Give me like an hour heads up. That's all I need.
Yeah.
And I will just make it happen.
I just thought it was so cool. Like, I don't know. I just think that I overthink how to welcome people, aside from just like talking to them at the end of Mass.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll wait until the next men's group meeting, or maybe I'll invite them to next month's parish festival, or whatever we're doing at that time. And it's like that is like you strike while the iron's hot, right? You don't wait another 2 months, or a month away to invite them to something, because they may
not come back.
They may not come back.
They come back. That urgency I felt with a family shortly. I actually met them at the St. Joseph. St. Joseph. How you call it? Procession that we did at Holy
the St.
Family.
Joseph procession. Yeah.
The procession, and there's this family I never seen before. It's like, hey guys, so I left, and it's like I didn't get their number.
Mm-hmm.
I did not get their number, and I texted around until I finally found their number. Invited the guy to adoration for second Tuesday. He had a great time. I had a great time. Had him for dinner, and it's just one of the things that you have to have a sense of urgency about.
Yeah, there has to be a sense of urgency with it. I totally agree.
I found the quote, Dave, if you want to read it really quick.
Yeah, put it up.
It's basically exactly what you said, word for word.
Because children have abounding vitality, because they are in spirit fierce and free. Therefore, they want things repeated and unchanged. They always say, do it again, and the grown-up person does it again until he is nearly dead. For grown-up people are not strong enough to exult in monotony. But perhaps God is strong enough to exult in monotony. It is possible that God says every morning, do it again to the sun, and every evening, do it again to the moon. It may not be automatic necessity that makes all daisies alike. It may be that God makes every daisy separately, but has never got tired of making them. It may be that he has the eternal appetite of infancy, for we have sinned and grown old, and our Father is younger than we.
That's basically exactly what you said.
Sort of. It sounds better that way. I mean, like, you know what I mean? I didn't say it that good.
All right.
It's a good quote, though.
It is a good quote. It is a good quote.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan. We're talking about hospitality. Drinking some Rough Rider whiskey, which still is delicious. It's still good.
$38. Not bad.
That is better than not bad. Fantastic.
So Aquinas has this homily on the law of hospitality, specifically going over Romans 12:13, when Saint Paul talks about being, be hospitable. And in typical Aquinas fashion, he gives this. There are 4 motives for us to be moved towards hospitality, and then he breaks down each 4 motive with like 3 subsets.
Right.
Typical. I would love to have heard. I wish we had a recording of Aquinas giving a homily. I just would love to hear.
What if he had a super high-pitched voice? Like, what if he's like, all right, guys, there are 4 subsets. That just totally ruin,
that could ruin it.
Like,
yeah,
ruin Aquinas for you, right? He's like this big fat guy. He's like, he walks up with his like there with his like a stately bearing, gorgeous bald head, and now he's like sounds like Mickey Mouse at the Ambo.
Oh, I hope he's laughing right now.
He's totally laughing.
Yeah,
he seemed like a pretty jolly guy.
Yes. So he has 4 motives for us to move to hospitality. The first one is the command. It's the command of the Lord to be hospitable.
You have to do it.
You have to,
or you'll die.
Or you will die. So he breaks it down into 3 parts, basically, for the command of the Lord. It's a law by nature, by the old law, and by the new law.
What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
So by nature is we desire it, so we should give it. In natural law,
okay,
if you want it,
do unto others.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was yawning.
I'm boring you already.
Yeah, you're just being super boring.
It's Aquinas, so
no, it's you.
It's definitely me. The old law by obligation to the poor, like we have obligation to help the poor,
like under the old covenant, kind of like the Jewish law, sort of.
That's my understanding, at least. And then the new law is be not forgetful to entertain strangers. In Hebrews 13:2, it talks about how
Where you have often entertained angels or something.
Yes, which is so weird to think about.
It's like, what?
Greg was an angel?
He's not even a real dude.
I'm talking about you, Greg from Phoenix. I would love it if he was listening to that. So the second motive he talks about, though, is from the example of saints.
Okay.
And he actually goes, I think, a little deeper than what we will go tonight on this example. But he talks about, shocker. I'll link the homily in our show notes if you're interested in reading the whole thing. But he talks about how the saints were willing to be burdened of its uncomforts, of basically not putting yourself first. I'm willing to sacrifice to make sure that you're taken care of, to make sure that you feel welcome, that you don't feel like that you being here is a burden to me.
Detachment gives you the freedom to be hospitable. When you detach yourself, when you understand that, like the things, when you adopt a stewardship mentality, stewardship is like, it's like, how much of your money does stewardship say you should give to the church?
All of it.
10%, 50%. People like the trick is 10%, a tithe. 100% is the right answer. So like,
I got it right.
All the stuff that I have, it's not like I'm stewarding them for the Lord, right? So it's not even my stuff.
Right.
It's the stuff that the Lord has given to me to use in his service. Now, for most of the time, 99.9% of the time, that means like for my family, whatever it is. It's the dinner table the Lord gave me a table so that my family could eat, have a good, beautiful place to eat. Mm-hmm. But occasionally, that means that other people need to eat there. Mm-hmm. And so, like, detachment gives you freedom to be hospitable, like hospitable just in abundance, abundantly hospitable.
The burden of abundance.
You know what? I've used that phrase a lot lately because we're harvesting from the garden, like tomatoes. Just like I've literally instituted a 5 tomato minimum per day. The girls have to eat. You have to eat 5 tomatoes.
Cherry tomatoes.
Well, they're like pear tomatoes.
Okay.
They're about the same, about the size of a cherry tomato. We're not talking about
this big.
Go get those celebrities. Yeah. Go get that beef. You got to eat 5 beef-eater tomatoes.
I'm just over there
today.
Elizabeth is just there taking bites out of
Dad, I'm going to throw up. Eat the tomato.
But there's the burden of abundance.
It is. I mean, it's like you're getting all this stuff and like, what am I going to do with it? Don't throw it away.
Right.
You have to figure out what to do with it. So yeah, that's the kind of generosity and hospitality we should strive for. Mm-hmm.
Another one he talks about is the example from saints is protection of guests from harm, and he uses it's a patriarchal custom to protect guests from violence. Mm-hmm. And as we talk about as man, we protector, provider, establisher. It's a protector to even of guests in your home. Mm-hmm. Which I thought was...
Once again, I think was a lot more significant back in the day. Where, if you're just traveling, literally wild beasts could set upon you at night.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like
it's a real thing.
I mean, probably it won't happen to you, but it could. There are other points. I mean, think about the Nazis. I mean, that was that was big time going on. Yeah, like I'm going to bring you into my home knowing, I'm
protecting you from violence.
My own freedom. I mean, talk about hospitality.
Yeah.
And giving up. Oh, it's like one thing to give somebody some bread. It's another thing to give up your very freedom
to protect them.
To protect somebody, like was done in the Netherlands and Germany. I mean, all the Nazi occupied places. I mean, that could happen again. I'm sure that it will happen again at some point somewhere.
Hopefully, let's pray not to that.
I hope not, but
at least
right.
No, I agree. But then he goes. The last point I thought was very interesting. He says, "So that they may see the joy and gladness in you." Right, and so this is the whole idea of it's hard to evangelize somebody unless you get to know them, unless they know who you are, they know that you care about them, and then all of a sudden they say, "Wow, your whole family is smiling. Your whole family is joyful. They're all working together as a unit. It's very clear that you guys have things working well. It's a well-oiled machine, if you will. What is going on? What about this is different?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think hospitality, especially, we kind of talked about this the other day in our community episode, how when you have good community, there's a festivity about it. Hospitality kind of is the same way, that there's when you have someone over and I think it's exciting. I like hosting. I especially like it when people are staying with you, like maybe they're going to stay a couple days with you, and you like really get to be hospitable because they get to see your family. You get to invite them in, like, come be a part of my family with me for a few, like a short time or whatever. I really do enjoy that. There's something fastidious about it. Is that a word? Fastidious?
Sure.
We're going to use it.
I think the Peepster said fastidious.
We're going with it.
Yeah.
So, there's like, sort of like when you see little kids, my daughters, they get a new doll and they get excited to show the doll, to like, here, play with my new doll.
Right.
To share the doll
with
'cause
others.
they like it so much, right? So it's kind of similar. Like, I'm excited, like, let me get you something to drink, let me give you the best of what I have.
Our kids love when we have people over and we get to add a guest spot on the prayer board. Oh, yes.
Big time.
Yes, everybody gets to, there's guest gets to add a prayer to the prayer board.
Yeah.
And so they all get to go. They all get to say their thing, and it's like every time Luke looks over at the person, see what I did? See what I did? And they always try to group their prayer intercession with the saints of the patron saint of this, it's just really funny. But yeah, they want for you to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. And you want to give them your best. You don't want to, only if you're having someone over, but it's like, all right, well, I'm not going to give you my best stuff because I'm saving that for myself. And you're just a miser. You're not being generous. You're not being hospitable. Mm-hmm. So when you have that festivity about it, it's like, oh, let's open the best bottle of wine we have. Let's open whatever.
Because the best is meant to be shared with others.
If you want something, if you want to try something that we have, I've been waiting for this moment to open it.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm excited.
By the way, I've been meaning to tell you, I'd like to come over. I know you have that nice bottle of whiskey at your house.
Which one?
Yeah.
Several.
Yeah. I'd like you to open one of them.
In fact, today we had people over for dinner, and he goes, "Do you have a drinking problem?" And I said, "I don't have a problem with my drinking." And he's like, "Well, you got a lot of stuff over here." I was like, "Look, Sam, if I had a drinking problem, I wouldn't have all this stuff. Okay? I'd be drinking it, and it wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
This is because I'm not drinking it. That's why it's all still here.
Been waiting for you."
Right, yeah.
So Aquinas talks about, the next thing he talks about, number 3, on motives for us to be moved towards hospitality. He talks about the evils that are incurred by those who are unwilling to exercise hospitality. And we're going to hit the end of this here pretty soon, so we'll talk a little bit about the evils, and then he ends it with the 3 reasons we ought to be given hospitality. So he kind of ends it on a good note. But he talks about the 3 evils incurred by those unwilling to exercise hospitality. And the first one is that they are punished by the Lord. First of all,
So
punished by the Lord.
take that.
So that sin makes you dumb and blind, and so you don't understand. Like, you get stuck in your rut. Your eyes aren't open to see helping others. Wisdom 19:13 is where he pulls it from.
Gonna get hit in the face with a Jesus sandal.
That would not be good. So if you're listening on the radio, tune into the podcast. Go to thecatholicmanshow.com. We'll continue this conversation. Go check us out because we're going to be opening up the Catholic Man Show camp out here pretty soon as well. More on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass.
And cheers to Jesus.
So the first one, like I said, they are punished by the Lord. Big one. That should be one that you should be pretty nervous about.
Either be hospitality or it's purgatory timeout for you.
He talks so much about your neighbor that it's almost like it's connected.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your neighbor.
Jesus, is that what you're saying?
did. It's like love thy neighbor, blah blah blah. So it's like.
But who is my neighbor?
Yeah. Well, I am your neighbor.
Yeah.
I've got a like Adam's several houses away. I'm not even sure he's my neighbor.
Right.
Mm.
So anyway, so he talks about how they're punished by the Lord. Sin makes you
Dumb.
sin makes you dumb. Yeah, makes you
Like DUMM.
M.
Like dumb.
Yeah, but so you get punished by the
That's
Lord.
why
You're
I'm
not
so much
fulfilled.
smarter than you,
Probably.
because you're such a big sinner.
That's not inaccurate.
And I don't do that anymore.
That's one of the things I don't do. But the next one is he talks about being confronted in your judgment. Christ talks about this. I was a stranger, and you did not welcome me. I was hungry, and you gave me no food. I was thirsty, and you gave me no drink.
Yeah.
And that's like that one should be one that was very fearful as well, right? Like your last judgment, and I wasn't hospitable to everybody else. I wasn't welcoming them into my home, welcoming them into the church.
Yeah. So this is a book we have when it comes to hospitality. We've talked about it. It's been a man gear we did. It's a book on etiquette.
Oh yes,
I
remember
cannot
that.
remember. It's like the book on etiquette. So there was a woman like in the 20s
Mhm.
or like early 1900s. She wrote this book on etiquette. It was like it defined etiquette.
and it keeps getting updated every.
And then her daughter like
It update-
and
gets
now
updated
it's
a lot.
now it's the granddaughter who's putting of the same and
Emily something.
yeah, Emily something. But there's just a lot of really great stuff in there that, for me, I think, I don't get to host a lot. But if somebody's staying at your house, here's some good things to do to make them feel welcome so that, you can be hospitable. And so I really recommend that book. It's not a Catholic book. But it does get into some like moral questions, like hospitality. What do you do if you have an adult son who's not married, who wants to bring his girlfriend for Christmas?
What do you do?
And she talks about it, and so she says like, if you don't want them to stay in the same room, you have the right to enforce that rule in your home. And they. And so she talks about like that's not being unhospitable because you have those rules. Because you have those rules for your house. So I appreciated that she doesn't cave in. So it's a good book to get, but it also talks about like having something on the bedside table with the Wi-Fi password. Mm-hmm. And it's like stuff that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of to do. Mm-hmm. I would have wanted to do.
Right.
And I would do if they had occurred to me. And so like that book, first of all, it's huge. It covers all kinds of situations. And it's good to know what is like the appropriate, respectful thing to do in certain like kind of unusual situations that you might find yourself. Mm-hmm. It's a good resource.
I was going to go into this later, but I mean, this is going to kind of piggyback off what you were just saying. Is like, you should orient your house when having guests to hospitality, right? When they walk in, they should not feel like they're being burdened or they're burdensome to you. So everything should be oriented towards them, right? Everything should be set at the table. Like you said, like if they're staying the night, Wi-Fi password would be there. Maybe a bottle of water. Making sure that everything is taken care of to where there's no issues. That's something that like Deacon J. Thomas is great at. When he hosts people, everything is set perfectly to serve the guests.
Right.
But from the plates to the food to the drinks, where are the drinks located, where are we going to be, to where we're going to be praying. I mean, it's just like everything is oriented towards servicing the guests.
Uh-huh.
And what that takes is a little bit of, the virtue of foresight, being able to see what's going to happen, how things are going to happen, and predict what the needs will be throughout the night to be prepared for it.
Yeah. Not all houses facilitate hospitality in the same way.
Sure.
Like, for instance, my house is not a good house for hosting large groups of people. I don't have a space for people to gather. You know what I mean? It serves a family very well, but it does not serve like 12 to 14 people very well. We make it work, you know. So like, there are things you can do if like this is something that you want to take more seriously, that you could just like look at your space. Often it's little things you can modify, change, add, remove, that can help the space serve the hospitalityness in a better way, you know. And so those are just things to keep in mind if you're taking hospitality seriously.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the three evils. The first one was, punished by the Lord. The second one is in your day of judgment. I was a stranger and you gave me no shelter. I was hungry, you gave me no food. And then the last one, he says, you shall be shut in a evil habituation. Like, so he's talking about from Matthew 25:4, the lamp and the oil. There's some people
in an evil. What? Say that one more time.
You'll be shut up in an evil habit. I can't even say it now.
Habituation.
Habituation.
What does that mean?
Evil habits.
Okay.
Like, because you're so blind now that, he uses the example of, the oil with the lamps. The dumb people didn't even bring oil with their lamps, so they couldn't even have the light.
Right.
The wise brought both oil and lamps so that they could
didn't
see.
bring extra oil anyway.
Right. So he uses that as an example. So I mean, each one kind of rolls into the next one, right?
Uh-huh.
So then the last one he talks about is the three reasons we ought to be given hospitality, and the first one is by doing this we gain grace. He uses the example of a woman in Samaria who talked to Christ,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was, this grace builds on nature. The more you do this, the more the grace you'll be given, and could be monumental.
Mm-hmm.
The second one he talks about is
It was for her.
It was for her.
So it changed her life.
This is kind of like what you hinted at earlier, is that by doing this, we are frequently entertain angels and saints.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses Hebrews 13:1. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware.
And like, I wonder if I've done that. I bet I have. I bet I do it all the time.
Yeah, St. Raphael with Tobit.
I'm gonna get to heaven and find out my wife was an angel. Like, I knew it. I had my.
There's some metaphysical issues there.
I had my suspicions.
But so I would like to add this to the show because I found it fascinating. While you guys were talking, I looked up who is the patron saint of hospitality.
I think I looked this up as well. Was it Saint
Benedict.
Julian?
Julian,
yeah.
Muy bien.
Yeah.
Like a
Well, I mean, I looked it up.
Like a Julian salad.
No, like the drink Julian.
I thought that was a Julius.
Oh, it is a Julius. Yeah.
You're talking about orange Julius.
Yeah.
Delicious. I haven't had one of those in forever.
Yeah, that's why I said it wrong, because I hadn't had it in a long time either.
But so bringing it back, do you know why he's a patron saint of hospitality?
I looked it up, but I don't recall why.
I don't even know.
The
really
story
who he
was
is.
incredible, so I have to share it. When Saint Julian was born, a pagan witch, casted a curse on him to kill his father and mother at an elder age. And his father wanted to get rid of the kid when he saw the witch do that, but the mother didn't let him. So the mother let him. He lived, and then at a time he went away to his own life, and his father and mother went out to look for him at a point. So they're praying in a church. They want to find him because he knew where he lived. So as they're leaving the church, they see a woman sitting on a chair, and they're needing hospitality. So the woman says
they're needing hospitality.
yeah, because they were looking for him.
Okay.
So they're like nomads at this point, going from town to town looking for him.
Gotcha.
So his wife said, "Yeah, come on in to my house. My husband Julian is out hunting for food. So she's like, "Oh, your son is Julian. That's our son." So they go to their house, and his wife is so hospitable that she offers them their bedroom. Okay, so his wife offers their parents their bedroom while for sleeping, and she gets back to town. But Julian is out hunting, so the devil appears to Julian while he's hunting, and says, while you were out hunting, your wife is cheating on you, and they're now laying in your bed." And Julian is like stern with rage and says, "How can this be? Whatever." And he was going to go out, and of course, what he's going to do? Kill the man in the bed for cheating, and then the woman too. But he ends up just turning back and walking out of town, just leaving. And then as he's leaving, he walks through town, and he sees his wife sitting with a group of women. And he's like, "I thought you were cheating on me." I was like, "No. Your parents showed up, and they're in her house right now. I offered them our bed." So he realizes what the devil had done at the time. Composes the rage and everything, and then goes and reunites with his parents. So because his wife was so hospitable, and because he was able to handle the whole thing so well, he's a patron saint of saints. He's a patron saint of hospitality.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know that story.
No biggie. I found it so awesome. And I have seen his statue.
I've heard that one before.
I've seen his statue in some churches. He has a palm in his hand and a sword in the other hand. So,
Peace.
yeah.
So is he related to the salad at all? Is the salad named after him?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You don't know about a Julian salad?
No idea.
There's that one movie where it's like, "You're more shredded than a Julian salad, brah."
Is it because of Julius Caesar?
I'm pretty sure it's Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I saw this story. I thought it was cool. I wanted to share it with everybody out there.
It's a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so John Bell. Oh, okay.
I've been trying to pull up that post. I can't get it on
so
Facebook.
John Bell brought up the point of expectations of having your house very clean whenever you're having people over, and how you have to. There has to be some kind of give and take, right? You live in the house. Remember that hilarious YouTube video of this guy saying "We can't have them know that we live in this house. Everything must be clean." And he's running around. He actually is dressed up as a mom and acting like that he's freaking out.
Right.
They can't know we sit. Our cushions look like they've been sat on. And he's freaking out. Do you remember this video?
No, I have not seen it.
Oh, dude, it's hilarious. But Haley and I make that joke every time we have people over, and it's like, they can't know we live here. It has to be clean. And I think there is a give and take, right? You can't have your house has to be oriented towards hospitality. It can't be such a wreck that it's not welcoming to other people. But you also live in this house, and there has to be a realization of, listen, I have 4 kids.
Right.
Everything is not just immaculate, and you can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, right? You can't just sit there and not invite anybody over because my house is never ever clean enough to have people over.
You should also strive for a level of order that it stays clean enough for people to come over. I mean,
right.
I understand that's ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's idealism versus realism. But you should clean your house before people come over. I mean,
right. Okay, so the last one. So the 3 reasons to be hospitable, according to Aquinas in this homily he gave, is we gain grace. We frequently entertain saints and angels, which is just such a spirituality, mysticism that I think we lose in today's Western culture.
Yeah.
The Eastern Catholics do a much better job at the mysticism aspect.
Uh-huh.
But the last one is by doing this we shall be received into an eternal, heavenly, and glorious habit of into eternal life, because he says, "Come ye, blessed children of my Father, inherit thy kingdom." And so he uses the example that when you're hospitable, you bring people into communion, which is what we're made for. We're made for communion. This is what eternal life will be, that we will all be in communion with one another. So you're just preparing yourself for the heavenly reality of the afterlife.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah, when you sit down at a table with somebody, you're really giving them like a part of yourself.
Can you hold on? Can you imagine like actually hearing a homily like that though? Like, I have 4 points to talk about here today on hospitality, and you like go through each point, and each point has 3 subsets of points as you're going through it, and it all flows together, each one building upon one another. I don't hear a whole lot of homilies like that today.
Rhetorics is not, that's not the style of rhetoric that we expect
we've kind of,
and what we have today.
Yeah, it's less catechesis.
Yeah, I mean today it's just different. You know, they tell more.
It'd be very interesting to hear, and
honestly, I think it'd be boring.
But it depends on how it
would be difficult to hear it because it's not what we're used to.
It depends on how good they are.
It would be very hard to follow.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, how hard would it be? Like, at the end of it, would I remember? How many bullet points would I remember?
Yeah, exactly. How much would you actually be able to take away from it? And I don't. Maybe people back then were thinking that like
we're much dumber
this
now.
Aquinas guy, he's like way too smart for me, and
I doubt it.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. His homilies are great if I could just remember some of them.
I think he did a really good. I think he was really good.
Well, obviously, but that doesn't mean people remembered his homilies. But anyway,
I think at the time, the homilies were seen as like the time to learn, because you didn't have all this book and stuff. So it's like the expectation was that you were there, like you were sitting at a college classroom, right? Right now, that's not the case. You have to like connect with the people, and you have to
start off with a
joke, story, lure them in, hook, bait, sink. You know, it's like
I love when
hook, bait, sink.
I love when Juan uses like little idioms. You know,
hashtag hook, bait, sink.
You're welcome.
It's so great. I love it, Juan. But yeah, so I don't know. I just thought that it was really interesting. You know, I mean, he puts a lot of like, there's a lot on the line when it comes to being like that he's talking about in this homily of being hospitable.
Yeah. And
I don't know. I think that I'm just looking at it from my point of view. A lot of times, like that very beginning quote that we said, you know, Christian hospitality from the beginning involves heavy burdens for the community, and specifically heavy burdens a lot of times for your from your domestic church, the community within your home.
Yeah.
And there's times like even like, you know, with you and Juan, like we all like to get together, we all like to have fun, but there's times like, oh man, it's just like almost kind of inconvenient. I mean, I want to go with you guys and have dinner or whatever, but like I have other things I really got to be doing.
Right.
It's kind of inconvenient, but it's so important to not only for yourself, for leisure, but also for your family, for your kids.
So in my mom's family, just like following up with that story about Saint Julian. They had a tradition about when they would have guests, and I think it was like mostly between each other. My mom's one of 9, so like when one of their siblings would come over, the guest would sleep in their bedroom, like in the master bedroom.
I'm not that hospitable.
Which is a little bit weird, but is very hospitable. It happened to me and Pamela once. We went to stay with my Uncle John, one of my mom's brothers, and we didn't realize it at first, but like later on we figured out this is their master. They were just kind of moving. So my Uncle John, he was a widower. He had just gotten remarried, and so he and his new wife were like trying to combine households. So they had like a lot of stuff in some of the bedrooms, and so we realized we were in their master bedroom. They gave us their bedroom to sleep in, and it was like, wow, yeah. I was taken aback by it a little bit. That why did he do that? He didn't have to do that.
Right.
You know, and it was just like kind of humbled, you know, and it is a very generous thing because I don't know, like, do you move all your stuff? Do you like take your clothes out first? You know, like, you know what I mean?
You know,
it's
don't get that scrupulous about it.
But if you let them stay in there, what if you have to get dressed? Like, hey, you're knocking on the, you know, it's like they're still asleep and you need to get dressed. It's like you go knock on, it's like, hey, sorry, I just my underwear's in here.
I wake up at 5:30. You know, like,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how you. That is a big. It's like you got to like really plan for some stuff, and
Sure.
But obviously, it's the best bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like my kid's bed, crap. Okay?
Yeah.
They have the worst beds,
Sleeping on hay.
right? I mean, when you only weigh like 40 pounds, who cares about how good your mattress is?
Right.
You know, so like
Yeah.
I wouldn't put anybody, because you know, like that quote, it is a sacrifice. A lot of times it is the kids. So it's like, I remember growing up, when we had guests, I was sleeping on the couch, so that people could sleep in my room, you know, and on a bed,
Right.
because you're not gonna put an adult on the couch while your 10-year-old sleeps in a bed.
Sure.
So yeah, that's just what's expected.
I just think we got to be intentional about it, and it's tough. It's tough to do whenever you get swarmed with all of the things that you have going on in your daily life, and a lot of times you can even think about it, and then be like, yeah, but it's just not. It's not a good time. Like, you're right. It's not a good time a lot of times. Most of the time, it's not a good time.
Mm-hmm.
But you still have to you have to make that time anyway.
Yeah, and like you said at the beginning, the hardest thing is just to do it in the first place, like to initiate the hospital. You know, when you see somebody, that's why it's a good idea to think about. I mean, it's a good idea to be talking about it right now, and to just think about it. So you can say, we have a plan for hospitality. If we meet a new couple at church, we are going to do this. We're going to invite them over. And that's why we have
The cookies over here.
The Danishes, you know, or something.
Right.
You know, like we have something ready to be hospitable. There was some comedian don't touch the mom was always like freaking out about don't touch the cake. I have no idea who that was.
I don't either. I do remember that. Yeah.
Like, the cake is for guests.
But my parents did that.
Right. You have this stuff.
You have ready.
What if somebody comes over?
Right. We have to give them coffee and cake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have, it's embarrassing if somebody, even if like somebody just drops in, which nobody does anymore.
No. Cell phones just killed that game.
Like, the only person that I could really see just like
Didn't it?
it totally, just like dropping in without calling
Is Juan.
Is Juan Posada.
Yeah. It's the
Juan
only...
Posada might just like not even knock.
Yeah.
And
just
walk into your
walk
house
in.
like, hey, I'm glad you
Yeah.
have clothes on.
Yeah.
True story.
In fact, we had to implement a rule with Juan at our house. It was like, Juan, listen, you have to knock before you come into our house.
Is that true, Juan? Did you have to have a
not
talk?
knock, but I had to give him a heads up.
You have to give me a heads up.
Before, hey, I'm on my way.
Yeah. He has to give me a heads up because there were times that were just not.
You know what I did?
Bad timing.
But, I mean, it's not really a cultural thing. Like, when I was staying in Colombia.
I would so use this if I was living somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's
sorry.
culture.
It was just
Culture.
it's a
In
cultural
America.
thing. In
You can-
America,
Language card.
everybody gives the guest money.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
well, it's a
Yeah.
cultural thing. I don't know why. Here's my
No, but-
here's the basket. Please put $20.
So
in.
when I graduated, when I graduated from college, I went to Colombia and I lived there for about a year and a half. And I rented a room at a family's house while I was working there. And I lived with them for like a year and a half. And I'm telling you, neighbors and people will drop in all the time. I mean, like, it was expected that you had a pot of coffee going from like 2 to 7 and some cookies and things because somebody was gonna drop in, and it was our cousins, uncles. Yeah, not even. This is late 21st century. But there were other people dropping completely, not a call, no heads up, no nothing. Hey, such and such showed up. Get the cookies out. Get the coffee out. We're gonna talk for a little bit. And it was just like they were doing the rounds. Wednesdays, I'm visiting such and such. Tuesdays, I'm visiting such and such. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful to see the community just like, and you know what? They would stay in for like 20, 30 minutes and then go.
Eat all the desserts.
That's what he said. And then
Go.
go.
You know, it's not like I'm expected to be here for dinner. I'm just gonna stop by, say hi, check how you doing, and then go visit somebody else or go to my house.
You know what that reminds me of? You remember at Sam's when they used to have all like the free samples of food? And it's just like one little bite of food. But if you went to all the places, you could get a solid, like a square meal. That's what that reminds me of. Like, I don't have any dinner plans.
I'm gonna go hit the Smiths, then the Johnsons.
I'm just gonna walk the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a cookie over there.
Yeah.
Maybe some cheese sandwiches over there.
Yep.
Well, haven't you heard the phrase, add a cup of water to the soup? Is that not a phrase here?
No.
I think like I've heard it a couple of times.
We're just like so rich here
But-
that we just have a lot of soup. We have
Yeah.
all the soup.
All the soup. But that's where it came from. It's like down there in South America, you're visiting, and in your rounds, sometimes you just happen to hit dinner time. And somebody would say, add a cup of water to the soup. We have guests over.
Now it's even more bland.
No, it was never bland. It was always delicious. It was always rich. But you add a cup of water to have enough for the guests.
Jim is trying to get another. Listen, he's had like 3 Kathy pours tonight.
I haven't.
Yes, you
So
have.
You're scandalizing everybody.
I just wanted
Sorry.
to.
Well, Jim's a big man, so he can.
Stop.
Anyway, I don't have anything else. I don't think about hospitality other than I just hope that people will.
You just got to be ready. You know what I mean?
have a plan. Being intentional.
be intentional.
Be intentional.
I mean, it's sort of
And
like
it'd be sweet if other people started doing the novena.
it's sort of like
Yeah.
Traveling
the parable that you talked about that Jesus talked. The virgins with the oil.
Mm-hmm.
There were some virgins who were prepared, who had made a plan, and some who weren't.
That was that was actually me.
Yeah, and
That was-
that's why I'm
yeah.
saying. So like
Aquinas just rips me off.
you are not going to be. It's not like you get to decide when you have the opportunity to be hospitable. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you invite people over and yeah. But a lot of times you don't. And so you have to be ready all the time because you do not know when the bridegroom will show, So have a plan. That's reasonable for your means and for what you can offer. I mean, like, not all families can offer the same sorts of things, and that's okay. You're not expected to like look. When I went over to the Smiths and they had caviar. You don't have caviar to offer me? It's like, no. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's not it. You just offer them the things that you have. So have a plan. You want to be ready,
Bring people into the church. Be disciples.
and then lock the doors and say that they can't leave until they.
The beatings will
Profess-
continue until you become Catholic.
Until they profess the creed.
Right.
You will worship Mary right now.
No. All right. I'm done.